Have a break, and if you want a copy of tonight's tape, see Pamela. She'll be back around the corner making the first.
What else I'll say? Continue.
Happy New Year, Bashar.
Good day and good New Year to you.
Bashar, I've been thinking a lot lately about what you talked about earlier about the body being a vibrational frequency.
Yes.
And how everything around us is also a vibrational frequency, like
Yes.
the food we eat would have a certain vibration, each
Yes.
individual food, colors,
Yes.
clothing.
Yes. Everything is different or seen as different because it is a different vibrational frequency of the same primal energy.
Right. But the primal part,
Yes, is homogeneous.
when you meet frequencies, everything that is unlike that primal will then meet face to face, right? And that way you identify differences.
In a sense, yes.
And maybe clear them away so that one day they'll all be the same basic.
In a
again.
sense, that does not devalue individuality. And in a sense, anything that has ever existed will always exist. But creation within itself can be, shall we say, harmoniously aligned.
Right. For about the last year and a half, I've had a real interesting physiological symptomology.
Yes.
And I thought at first that it was like chemical. I have had like my lower intestine swells and my left leg, the foot and ankle swell up. And so I got very interested in herbs and all kinds of things because I didn't want to go the traditional route with it.
All right.
And recently I'm beginning to think it might be a vibrational thing or an energetic of some kind.
Well, do understand, of course, that all physiological reality is representative of a vibration. And sometimes when you're in a particular vibrational state, you will, of course, generate a physical and or chemical reason for a particular manifestation.
Right.
Because everything must have a counterpart in that particular reality in order to be experienced in that reality.
A psychic told me that she thought I was working out something that I hadn't been strong enough to work out before. Now, I wondered if you would reflect on that with me, because I know one night when my foot was particularly swollen, a friend did some Reiki on it, and it like went right down in 15 minutes. And I thought, well, that's interesting because it seems more like an energetic to do that.
That does not mean that that particular methodology of assimilation isn't connected to a particular origin for that energy. Whatever the methodology is that assimilates, it does not necessarily have to be representative of how that particular situation got started. It can simply be representative of the ability to accept balance and blending, regardless of what the reasons are you may have created for initiating that particular circumstance to begin with.
So in your perspective, it has to do with balance?
Well, everything does, ultimately.
Yeah.
In other words, a being that is in perfect balance cannot experience what you call dis-ease of any nature, by definition.
Right.
Now, may I ask a question?
Please do.
Thank you. How do you think of yourself, or have you ever thought of yourself as what you may call a healer?
Yes, I went through some real changes about that one.
All right. Would you care to illuminate some of those changes?
About 7 years ago, when I started studying the Course in Miracles, my hands started having this life of their own. And, and I was also studying with the Taoist priest at around the same time. And I remember I would be drawn to people who had any kind of imbalance. And move my hands around over them, and I got very insecure about what I was doing. And because I didn't know, I thought, well, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? And,
all right.
and they would seem to get better, you know. And
do you now know that you knew what you were doing?
I do know that now.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I've gone through some changes on it. What I did is I brought up past life stuff where I was real afraid of what would happen to me if I did these kinds of things.
Oh, you mean like the psychic told you?
Which psychic? You mean the one that, which one was that?
The one that said you were still working some stuff out from a past life association.
Is that all related to?
Of course.
I'm blocking that energy
because you have arrived at a similar point in this life analogous to the point you were at in the other life. So the same ideas are coming up again How you handle it now, how you assimilate it now, will depend upon the persona, the person you have created yourself to be now. The only hang-up, shall we say, is if you still identify with the persona you used to be then.
Right. I saw that, and so I've been letting go of all that. That's another time. That's not me now.
Yes.
And I thought the healing energy was going to be mainly coming out in my artwork, my paintings.
Okay.
People tell me that
But
they
you have
healing.
been very active with the using of your hands in many civilizations. You were very strong this way in Atalantean times as well.
I'm very drawn to study some techniques now to use the hands, just so that I'll feel like I have
All right.
a definite pattern to use.
A suggestion about the idea of the swelling in your own form would be to think in terms of fluidics and the idea of fluid seeking its own level and balancing out, rather than building up, piling up in any one particular area that may represent an imbalance of flow. Think of energy flow, balance of flow, and then there will not need to be a physiological manifestation of the swelling up of any particular area because the flow is imbalanced. Understand?
I do understand. And if I stop blocking all this other energy,
yes,
and let that all flow
through you,
and
yes,
go ahead and let it manifest however it manifests.
With integrity, yes.
With integrity, always, yeah. That's interesting. So it's a balance of fluids, or it's just manifesting that way? You mean?
Yes, to some degree, manifesting as an imbalance of fluids because of the imbalance of the energy fluid within you.
Oh, the fluidity of the
yes,
energy.
Yes.
Oh, I get it. Oh, great. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to tell you that life is becoming very exciting.
Oh, thank you.
Every day's a wonderful adventure.
Oh, thank you very much. Do remember, life has always been that exciting. You're just remembering that.
Yes, I'm really glad to. Thank you. Thank you, Bashar.
Shouting.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day and good New Year to you.
Good New Year. The same to you. A lot of things have been happening to us
yes,
as a family group and everything. Very exciting and
speak up so that all may share.
Okay. That I'd like to thank you for your encouragement all the time.
Oh, that's
and,
easy.
To play those games. And something else has been occurring that
yes,
I don't quite understand what's happening, and that's why I decided to ask you. It is about our little daughter.
Yes.
She's almost 4 years old.
All right.
And she was sleeping pretty good every night until suddenly she started waking up, and it was some panic, and that's happening for like 2.5 months, something like that, every night around 11 or 12 o'clock. And then I started perceiving myself some kind of the panic that she was feeling. I started feeling it myself. So that helped me to use some techniques on her, and so has been useful for me too. But
all right, very good.
And I found like it helped her too to run some. To get like to confront some negativity of fears in herself. But right after that, she suddenly wasn't afraid, and so, but she was still waking up. So I asked her what happened, and she said, guys came, She said that it's a little guy
yes,
who comes to wake her up at night, and she said, he said, Scarlett, let's play with the toys. And he said he starts playing with the toys.
yes.
So I said,
I see nothing unusual in this so far.
Oh, but then, then she says that, and I asked her more questions about how does he look. He said about my size and all this, and so she says that he came flying through the window. You
yes.
know? So I relaxed and I started understanding what, I think it was happening with her or whatever.
Yes.
But the only thing is, no worries me, but I can say it bothers me a little bit. She keeps waking up still. Sometimes stay like 2 or 3 hours at night, and
yes,
she comes to our bed constantly. So
yes,
I stay kind of awake several times too. So
all right.
I just like to ask you what's happening right now. After that, she's a little bit sick, some congestion in her chest, and I've been herpes, but still she has a little bit like cold and congestion, things like that. So I just want to ask you what's happening.
All right.
Please.
One moment. Until what you call the age of 7, certain ideas from other lives and agreements that you have all made are going to continue to be worked out. You are going to continue to receive some assistance in working those out and processing the energy through each and every one of you, the members of the family, up until that time in various ways. Okay. Approximately at the age of 7, of your daughter's age in that sense, there will be a change and a transformation in the way the energy and the agreements and the assistance is worked out or experienced by all of you. The child is simply still in what you may call a susceptible state to changes in energy, has picked up certain belief structures from the society, of course, and has learned now, is learning now through you to assimilate those beliefs in a positive way. There are still certain ideas that may manifest here and there as small diseases in that way, a processing, a purifying, clearing out. Our suggestion would be not that you will not necessarily stop the occurrence of waking up, for at those times of your nights is a very high receptive psychic activity time when some of the strongest communication can go on between yourselves and those you have chosen to function as your guides, which is what the being represents. Yes. On many different levels, in many different ways. A suggestion is that, perhaps together, if you can, while you are in your own rooms, if that is the arrangement of your house, you learn to breathe together. You set aside some time with your daughter in that sense, and with anyone in the household, to be in your own rooms and learn to breathe together, to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the pacing of your breathing is being mirrored by all other individuals in the house, and that you are breathing as one. So you do not have to feel disconnected or compartmentalized in separate rooms, so that you all know you are in the event together as one, and so that you can become more telepathically, psychically sensitive to what each is experiencing and the reasons for why you are experiencing these things. Now, I am not allowed to go into great detail with the specific ideas that are involved in the communications, for those things will play themselves out in the lives, the physical lives that all of you are living in very blatant and obvious ways. Your daughter has the ability and has chosen, as we are allowed to perceive, the agreement to be extremely psychically sensitive in that way. And this will come into play major activity in roles after the age of 7. Between what you call the age of 7 to 10 will be a very concentrated, very highly focused time of assimilation for your daughter as we perceive her energy. In all the things that the guide has taught and all the things that the friend has taught, from the age of 7 to 10, she will have to learn how to assimilate all that knowledge in a way that can be applied in your physiological society. It may be a time of high concentration. There may seem to be some idea of conflict or polarities involved with her particular exploration at that time, but from the idea also of 10 forward to approximately 13, there will be a complete uprooting, a complete rearrangement of the foundations in her life in that way, so that she will then, from that point forward through her period of adolescence, have the opportunity to discover what it is she will define her reality to be. Now, if you allow yourself the opportunity now to learn to breathe together as one, you also will be sensitized to the changes that she will go through in such a way that will alleviate your fear that what she is going through is inherently negative, and will strengthen with your co-breathing her ability to be able to assimilate all that knowledge, all that raw, open, exposed energy and information that she will be drawing in a way that will be able to be applied physically, materially, in beneficial terminology. So our suggestion for now is to learn to breathe together. Breathe together. Set aside some times to learn to breathe together. First, you can begin by doing it in one room and allow everyone to understand the pace of the easy, deep, and relaxed breathing, and see bright blue-white light filling you and surrounding you and immersing you, and you are breathing it in. And then when you are in your separate rooms, remind, all right, breathe together now. As you drift off into sleep, breathe together. We are one. We are breathing as one. Everyone is together. No one is apart. These are the things we have agreed to do. We are wrapped in love. We are warm in the blanket of light and life. Everyone will then be able to participate in a union with the idea of the guide energy, and will not feel as if anyone is being singled out or picked out or isolated in that way. So those fears, those ideas of isolation, the uncertainties and the doubts will not have to manifest as strongly. You can lay a foundation, a very loving and warm foundation, by filling your lives and your house with the breath of life, the breath of certainty, the breath in that sense of absolute trust that you are really one being breathing together. You understand?
Yes, Bashar.
Now,
Thank you very
there
much.
has been much more that we have imparted other than what you heard verbally. And some of this will come out in your dream realities and assist you in learning how to soften and balance the ideas we have discussed in terms of energy. And there has also been transmission to your child as well. But mostly, for now, to the child within you.
Okay.
We thank you.
Thank you very much,
And
Bashar.
pleasant dreams. Shedding.
Good evening, Bashar,
And to you, good day, and a good New Year.
and an ecstatic New Year to you.
Oh, thank you.
Double infinity for us, 88.
Double infinity.
Yes.
All right.
I don't know
An
if that
infinity of
translates.
infinities. All right.
Exactly. Well, the timing has arrived for us to speak of orcas
No,
in
all right.
Japan.
Orcas and Japan.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you for your opening remarks and for what you had to say about full self-validation.
Yes.
That really struck a chord within me.
Oh, all right.
And self-awareness. I've been exploring my own orca energy,
As
power, and integrity.
one moment.
Yes.
By the way, for those not familiarized with what we have discussed, what you call the orca represents the polarity energy of the consciousness of the whale and dolphin life forms upon your planet, which is the other alien species upon your world. You have two, human cetacean. The orca represents, loosely put, the samurai or the sorcerer of the sea, the path of absolute conviction, no turning back. You have to be, shall we say, very clear, very clean, very pure when dealing with the orca energy, or it will collapse very strongly upon you. Continue.
Yes. I have attracted situations to myself recently so that I could really explore that. And
Yes.
I've been understanding more and more about what that is.
Well, thank you.
And I want to thank you for all your loving reflections that have enabled me to reflect to myself what I need to know.
Oh, well, you
Where
know
I am.
what?
What?
You're welcome.
I know that. I love you, Bashar.
We love you as well, all of you, unconditionally. No matter what you choose to think of yourselves, we will love you anyway.
That's nice to know. We went to SeaWorld on New Year's Day
All right.
and visited the dolphins at
Yes.
the petting pool
Yes.
and also the orcas.
As
And as you may know, that since there have been the last couple of quote-unquote accidents.
yes, as we said,
Yes.
come crashing down, yes.
Exactly. I got that. Between the orcas and the trainers,
As-
they're not allowed now to swim with them or to interact with them in
As-
the water. And when we saw the first show, we were feeling very sad about the separation and the lack of trust, because it was such a beautiful expression of trust and integrity and power and gentleness all at once.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. But there is no real reason to have to be sad, for those individuals are now going to be forced to face certain things within themselves that they would not have faced before. And in that sense, the orcas have done that for them.
Yes, I have come to realize quite a bit about that.
You can rejoice in the strength and the boldness of the discovery.
I was thinking of that earlier when you were sharing with somebody else those ideas. Well, to continue, we stayed for the last show, and we went back to see the last orca show.
Yes.
And afterwards, as the stadium emptied out, there were 6 of us there, and we stood there and sent love and appreciation and as much communication and emotion as we could to the orcas.
No,
and
right.
we're receiving it back from them, as well as vocal sounds.
Yes.
And there were 3 of them in the tank, and 6 of us. And we decided we would ask them telepathically if they would come and slide out on the platform in front of us, which they did.
Yes.
And 2 of them came up first, and they turned sideways, and they pointed their noses in opposite directions and arched their backs, so they're making this perfect formation with their tails
Yes.
that we found extremely exciting.
Yes.
And then, when they slid down into the water again, the third one came up on the tank. So they all were in very close communication with us, and we with them.
Yes.
And then as we left, we walked down past the tank, and they were very close to the glass inside, or to the plexiglass. And they were pressing themselves against it and looking at us and opening their mouths right at eye level so we could see them. And we all just pressed ourselves up against the glass and were kissing the glass and crying with emotion. It was so intense.
Well, thank you.
And during the interaction, as I was feeling this sadness of the separation washing over me, I got a realization that enabled me to see that there is so much more going on.
Nice.
It was like new levels of awareness were opening up, and one thing from them is the idea that there is harmony and unity,
yes,
and that we are connected spiritually.
Yes, and what you are actually feeling as what you are terming that overwhelming emotion is that you are identifying and feeling the true size of their hearts.
Yes, you
and
are
it expanded
quite right.
you.
It certainly did. We reached many, many levels that we've been integrating ever since. It
Yes.
was so
You may simply ask yourselves, and I do not bring this up to give you more opportunity at self-invalidation, but you may simply ask yourselves, how many of you in your lives express the level of integrity expressed by those beings?
Exactly.
That can give you something to think about.
Because now there are 7 of them in a very small area. And I know on some level they long for the freedom of the seas, which is their birthright.
Yes.
And on another level, I know they've chosen to be there as ambassadors.
Yes.
To interact with us.
Yes. Things are changing.
I'm very interested in orcas having to do with, of course, the samurai connection and Japan. Now that Darryl's going to Japan,
yes,
is there going to be some communication, some interaction?
Energetically, consciously, yes.
Yes. Can you say a bit about that? I don't really know what to ask.
There is nothing for me to say at this time. Whatever is the mass consciousness, shall we say the miniature mass consciousness of that area, will determine what will come through and what will be said at the moment of that interaction. Remember, we don't plan ahead.
Yes,
and right now, the things that could be said, the things that are in motion, are many. And we do not have a perception of the determination of any particular one that needs to crystallize, except that there will be communication from the cetacean half of your world to the human half of your world in that area.
I'm very excited about that because I'm well aware of some of the interactions that have gone on with the Japanese fishermen and the dolphins.
Yes.
And I've learned a lot about that, and I think, well, I know that that's had an enormous effect on the mass reality of the Japanese as well as the entire world.
All of you are truly becoming one world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bashar.
Don't forget only for the dolphins.
Next time.
Thank you. Shouting!
Hello, Bashar.
And good day and good New Year to you.
And a joyous New Year to you.
Well, thank you.
I read Intruders last week.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure it was Margot who had asked you about it. And I read it with the idea of your response, namely that these quote-unquote abductions, detainments,
yes,
were for the purpose of integrating and facing our fears and integrating those fears.
That's one.
Okay, what was the other one?
Keep going.
Okay, so I read the book with that in mind.
Yes.
Now, when I read Communion, Stryber's book, I had read that before, and I could see it, that it was happening in those experiences.
Yes.
But reading Intruders, I didn't see that at all in there. I think it's a very carefully written book. Nothing, they're abducting us and all kinds of things. It's careful research. And the reports from the people who were detained, most of the emotions that have come up and are still there include anger, anxiety, and
yes.
they have not really integrated it.
Not yet.
Okay. Now, to me, and in fact, one person in this book is reported to have said, and that was my reaction, if they really want to detain us, and that's another question for the purpose that they're doing it, why can't it be made conscious that there is an agreement? I mean, for example, Darryl's agreement with you
yes.
was conscious, and I can't see...
Not before a certain point.
No, but before he started actually channeling...
There are many things the channel has not yet discovered that we have talked about.
Okay. But still, this agreement did come into consciousness. And
it is coming into consciousness more and more, yes.
But from none of the reports in this book does it seem that it came into consciousness and...
One moment. Though there may be to some degree some confusion on the part of some individuals, if you will carefully review the idea of the book again, you will realize that there are references made to circumstances and situations out of which the individuals emerged, as you say, in fear, in anger. And there are references made to situations and circumstances of identical nature in which the individuals were at ease.
Yes, I know, that's true. That's true. That's another aspect of it.
Yes.
My feeling in reading what happened to these individuals, what they remembered happening, especially in terms of the seeming genetic experiments, was that we were more of use to them than they were of use to us. And
it is two ways, always two ways.
Okay.
I understand what you mean. You have made an agreement with them for this particular manifestation, and yes, you are very important to them.
But what is their real purpose? One of the hypotheses is that their civilization is sort of dying out, and they need...
I will say
new
to
blood.
some degree this is so, but not in the way you understand it.
Are they part of the association?
Yes.
Because it really doesn't seem all that ethical the way they don't seem to be treating us as equals, for one.
I understand, but also understand what they have to deal with. They have to deal with many belief systems that will not allow a lot of conscious understanding to take place. Also, you are perhaps making a small assumption that every civilization thinks as yours does.
Oh, no, that came out very clearly, I think, in the book.
All right.
That their thinking is very different.
All right.
And what about their seeming lack of understanding?
One moment. You are contradicting yourself. Listen to the words.
No. What I'm saying is it was very clear that they think
Yes.
differently than we do.
Yes.
One of the things that really struck me is that they seemed, and I'm saying seem,
All right.
that they don't understand maternal emotions.
To some degree, this is so.
And so I thought, oh,
Since
this
they
is
do
really
not reproduce that way.
They seem to reproduce with humans the same way humans do.
Of late. But that is also a part of what you have called the experiment. It was not always so.
Oh, I see.
I am speaking haltingly for a reason. You are, as you say, pushing the edge of what we are allowed to reveal.
Okay.
Some of the information will be coming out in this your new year. But not yet.
Well, there's a lot of information in here,
Oh, yes.
and
But not what is not there.
it's, okay. Are they fourth density?
That cannot at this time be answered specifically.
Yeah, because they seem to be a little bit of both,
Yes.
third and fourth.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All that we more important ideas, some of the more important reasons as to why that is occurring.
Well, that's good. Now, from my point of view, I mean, I would be very willing to be of service or help anybody as long as it's conscious. You see?
That's up to you.
I think most people would be like that.
Maybe.
I mean, if they're told consciously, hey, here's the problem, can you help us solve it?
How many individuals, not to refute you, and not to say that it is not so, but how many individuals upon your planet are always given conscious opportunities that they never take? It, quote unquote, ought to be obvious in many cases.
Yeah.
But
that's
how
true.
often is it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this timing, allow us to reflect back to each and every one of you, once again, for the very first time, our deep excitement, our deep and true thrill at being allowed to interact with your consciousness in this way, at being allowed to co-create with you a tapestry of infinite beauty. We thank you for your interweavings. We leave you to your loom for the time being. We bid you once again an exciting new year of your time of counting, a fond and soothingly warm and loving good day.